Hello, and welcome to 5 Minute Math. Today we are looking at the 8th grade concept of using the Pythagorean Theorem. This is standard 8.7c in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 19 of the 2025 released STAAR test. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. All right, so we've got a right triangle and it has a leg with a length of 12 feet, a hypotenuse of 13.6. So let's just draw something here that we can kind of visually represent here. All right, so let's just say this is our right triangle. It might not be to scale, but that's fine. We've got a leg that's got 12 feet. We've got a hypotenuse that's 13.6 feet. Now, these are two different vocabulary terms that we need to know. When we are talking about a right triangle, that means a triangle that has a right angle. It has two different sides that come off of your right angle that are connected to the right angle, and each of these are called a leg, even if they're different lengths. Just because they're both called legs doesn't mean that they are the exact same length. They are not going to be the exact same length in this situation because we're looking for the length of the other leg, and 12 is not one of the answers. Okay, so what we need here is we need to remember that the legs are the two sides coming off the right angle, and then the side opposite, the diagonal, the side that's opposite the right angle, is always the hypotenuse. So those vocabulary terms are assumed in this problem. You need to know what a leg and a hypotenuse is. We're looking for the length of the other leg, so question mark. Now, if that's all the information they give us, we need to know that when we're dealing with the right triangle, we are going to our Pythagorean theorem. And so if we go all the way down to the very bottom of our references sheet, we will see Pythagorean theorem. Now, it doesn't say anything about a right triangle, so you need to know that before you come into this problem. We need to know that a right triangle has this relationship where it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And these are the legs, okay? So these two are your legs, and that's your hypotenuse. All right, so let's plug in what we know, and we'll call this A, we'll call this B. Doesn't matter which one's A, which one's B, and we'll call that C. So I can plug in some numbers. I can say A squared, A is my unknown, so I'll just leave it as A, plus B squared. Okay, so B squared is 12 squared, and then C squared is going to be 13.6 squared. All right, so A squared plus, that's going to be, I know 12 times 12 is 144. Let's get our calculator out here. Doesn't matter which one you use. Let's do 13.6 squared. What are we going to get? Okay, so 184.96. All right, so we have to square these. Now, we just need to isolate the A. All right, so let's use the subtraction property of equality. Let's subtract 144 from both sides of the equation, right? And that's going to be 0. So that's going to get us A squared equals, what is that going to be? 40.96. Now, 40.96 is not an answer because we haven't found A yet. What we found is A squared. So how do we get rid of that squared? Well, the opposite, or the inverse, is the square root. So if we take the square root of A squared, that's just going to give us A. And then if we take the square root of 40.96, that should get us what we need. So let's take that square root of 40.96. And you see we've got 6.4. All right, so that's what it looks like. A equals 6.4. And if we want, right, we can double check it. 12 squared. And that's going to equal 184.96, which is that 13.6 squared. All right, so our answer here is going to be A.